So my math demonstration is geared more towards a second grade lesson. That's what I did for my lesson plan. I did coin combinations, them doing any coin combination using several different ones, up to $1 value. That's what my lesson is for. Obviously, in second grade, the standard was written for coin and dollar amounts. So basically what I did in my lesson, and anytime that you're going to want to do a money lesson, is you want to introduce the money first, whether it's the coins or the bills. You want to introduce them first. My lesson was just geared around quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies, but for an extra resource and the demonstration that I'm using today, half dollars are included. So you would definitely want to start with the half dollar, letting them know that that's exactly what it is. You can use different questioning there so they can come to that conclusion on their own. Basically, half dollar, it's going to be the biggest. It's equivalent to 50 cents. Then you're going to go down to a quarter from there. That's another half of that. So you could use that opportunity to further in, if this is half of $1 and you only need two to make $1 for the half dollar coin, then you could do the same type of concept with the quarters. If this is half of a half, then that would mean you would need how many. So really, money can be used in many different ways, fractions, but here we're just doing real world, real life problems and using the coins. So after the quarter, you're going to demonstrate the dime, the smallest, but it equals 10 cents. Then you're going to move on to the nickel, 5 cents, and the penny, 1 cent. So it's very important to tell the children and use proper vocabulary as well. You want to be using vocabulary like value, equivalent, cents, quarter, nickels, dimes, along those lines, not the small one, the crapper one, the brown one. So then after you said which all of them were, I would spend a little time working with the kids further. How I was saying earlier, half of $1, 4 quarters. You want to let them know, kind of just like to front load them, and remind them, that you could fit 2 quarters to be your half dollar, or 5 dimes to be your half dollar, or 10 nickels to be your half dollar. And the option that you really don't want to give the kids to use is pennies, where it's good to tell them, that 5 pennies equals to a nickel. So that's basically what you want to keep it in, though. You don't want to, especially when you're testing to see if they can come up with different coin combinations, you don't want to let them use, say you give them 33 cents. You would want to see a quarter, a nickel, and 3 pennies, or 3 dimes and 3 pennies. Something with the bigger coins. 33 pennies should not be an acceptable answer as far as when you're trying to test their knowledge and their grasp of using different coin combinations to come up with the total value. So after you spend a little bit of time doing that, that's always good. I would even leave something like this on maybe the Elmo, the document camera, so they can kind of reference back to it, especially while you're doing your collaborative work. And then you can be there for more questioning during independent time. So I just kind of want to break into the game that I decided to use for a resource in the classroom. It's called Making Sense Money Game, and basically you can have anywhere from 2 to 4 players. And for my lesson, I set it up to where when they were doing the different coin combinations, the ELLs, ESE students, any of my struggling students, I gave them a number 1 or 2, so they had the opportunity to make the combination first, and maybe use the easier option if that was the case, to really see and get help from the other students who are grasping it a little bit more, what more difficult combinations might look like. So in the game, basically what they do is they roll their dice, and there's the different playing pieces too. They're gonna roll the dice and move. So 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm gonna get to pick up the question mark card, and it says You won a pie eating contest at the fair. How much money did you win? So this is where the different coin combinations comes in. I know you can't really read that, but it says $1 $, 3 dimes, and 1 nickel. So the students are supposed to, if they can mentally do it, that's great. If you're kind of watching over, you might even want to ask them to display it out so you can see it a little better, so you know that they're coming up with it and not just kind of guessing a random amount. And so they can use these coins. $1/2, 3 dimes, 1, 2, 3, and 1 nickel. So we're going to start with the biggest, which is 50, and then 60, 70, 80, and 5. So then what they do is they have their little piggy bank, and on the first line they would write 85. So this is kind of where they would be putting the money so they could visually count it on their own board. I really like this game for that reason. They can take their time counting their money even if the next player goes. They can ask for help, and there's just a bunch of different real life problems that they could actually learn from. So then I would write it on there. Basically how the game is won is they have to fill up the 8 slots in their piggy bank. Some of the spots on here, they get to move a space ahead or they lose a turn. So the game potentially, depending on how many students you had, could run a little longer or go fairly short if they just get a whole bunch of cards and money right in their piggy bank. So I just want to read a few different cards to you so you kind of see the different problems and real life situations that the kids are going to be asked. So another one is, after she pays for groceries, your mom lets you keep the change. How much did you get? 1/4 and 2 dimes. You find a wallet and the owner gives you her change as a reward. How much did she give you? 4 quarters, 2 dimes, 3 pennies. You walked the neighbor's dog and he gave you his change. How much did you earn? 4 dimes, 1 nickel, 1 penny. You helped your mom clean out the garage. How much did you earn? 2 quarters, 4 dimes. So basically the kids are going to go through, they're going to write it down, they're going to add up their amount, they're going to get to play with any coin and utilize any coin for the demonstration to equal up, and then there's plenty of coins, so even if you need to give them the coin in the end, all the different coins in the end to add up individually what they have there, or they can represent, you can ask them a bunch of different questions on what if you used all dimes, or what if you used all nickels, or what if you didn't have any dimes, or you didn't have the $1/2. Do you think that your piggy bank would fill up faster? So you can kind of use this as like a conceptual clue too. And then another thing that I really liked is it has all of the amounts on there. So you can double check the work, they can double check the work. Either way, everything is kind of foolproof. You can allow them to like go out on their own and play the game and just play with